Hello, I'm Earl, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. My guest is definitely not a stranger, always here with me. The last time was about 6 months ago. The lady is Miss Claire Elshot. How you doing, Miss Claire Elshot?
Well, good morning and thank God for everything. I'm doing fine. And good morning or good day to your listeners and viewers. Well, everything is fine with me so
That's nice.
far.
That's nice.
Yes.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you in the program. You're a pioneer in the labor union movement here in St. Martin. And I know you saw for many decades as president. What's happening lately on the union front?
Well, basically, as a trade unionist, I would like to say that the recent elections of the Windward Islands Teachers Union, I became the first vice president. Why I really did not want to go back in or to be the president, but I definitely am supporting and basically also helping with the awareness of certain things to the new incoming president, who is Miss Roxana Pantoflet. She is actually the sister of in those days, back in my days, the Powerpuff Girls. So she's a sister of the late Patricia Pantoflet.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, she's the baby sister. And I believe it is for me an honor to be able to have a younger person as president where I can stand besides them. As you know, there is also a restructuring because probably the last time I was here, I also wore the cap of president of the Windward Island Chamber of Labor Union. There's a restructuring process. So in certain occasions, I'm still representing or the contact person. There would be, within short, a new president assuming the responsibilities and the pass of the powers, then the transition of that would also take place. But on the labor front, I must say that we have a lot of movements right now because even though probably most of our members are not minimum wage workers, but we have seen that the outgoing Minister of Labor has established a new minimum wage as of April the 1st, 2024, which is just like a month and change ago. And the minimum wage that was established gives us a gross hourly minimum wage of 10 guilders and 40 cents. The gross minimum wage per work week, if you have, depending on the 40 hours, 45 or 48 hours work week, it is for 40 hours, 416 guilders, 45 hours, 468 guilders, and 48 hours, 499 guilders and 20 cents, and that is per week. And per month, for 40 hours would be then 1,802 guilders and 66 cents. For 45 hours, it would be 2,028 guilders. And for 48 hours, it would be 2,163 hours. 63 guilders and 20 cents. So 2,000, I'll repeat that, 2,163 guilders and 20 cents. Now, even as a president of the union, when we analyze this, the intent or the spirit of the law was to give an increase, yes, but we are holding on to the premise that the minimum wage, number one, should be indexed based on the cost of living every January yearly. This has happened. Yes, very good. Minister Otley legislate that. But it is also to show that there were a couple of years that this minimum wage was not indexed, and that is a gross infringement on the workers' rights. So even though as unions we pointed that out, the drive from the ministers back then, the various ministers, to do that. In the caretakers government, when we had, for example, Miss Pamela Gordon Carty as minister, there was a 1% added that year. But for example, we had a number of ministers that never did what the law prescribed. So we do hope with the new incoming government, where we have Minister Veronica Johnson-Webster as the minister, that this would happen regularly, that the exercise will be done in September of this year to be able to determine and not wait until January what would be the index, the indexation percentage, and again, a cost of living adjustment for us in trade union organizations. It is just to balance the purchasing power. It is not really an increase. So a real increase would be when a study is done, what each household, what a household of two, or like a study that was done by the Nibut in Bonaire, what is needed for that household not to be in poverty.
But there have been many years discussions about that,
discussions, right? But then we need some concrete actions,
right?
Because of course you start with a discussion. You need concrete data and concrete actions to be able to execute a plan. Because if we look at the minimum wage on the French side, there is a discrepancy between that. If we look at the minimum wage in the best islands, Bonaire, Saint Eustatius, and Saba, there is a discrepancy between ours, where ours is lower. If you look at the minimum wage in the Netherlands, it is also lower. And if you look at the minimum wage when comparing the French side, I don't have that detail right now, but if you look at comparing France to the French side, you will notice that the French side, Caribbean French side, is a little higher than France because the cost of living here is a little higher. So it goes to say, without a shadow of a doubt, that as trade unionists, we are looking forward. The fact that the political world is not, whether it's parliament or the ministers themselves are not carrying out this research, because to me, they know what the result would be, and the consequence of the result of a research would mean action. Whether we want to believe it, yes or not, 2030, that was established as the year for the sustainable goals to be achieved, is just around the corner, and we need to pull up our socks to the standard of having to answer about the poverty. You can hear clearly in the speech of the incoming Prime Minister that's one of the things that he's planning to tackle.
But he stressed it here even during his campaign.
Yes.
That was his concern.
Because the concern of the growing poverty. My concern, even though right now I'm a trade unionist, is the growing poverty among the seniors.
You've been speaking about that for many years.
Good.
Yeah.
The seniors on St. Martin, can we continue to tolerate our social insurance bank to just be what you would call werkverschaffing, employment agent, and not taking care of the needs of the senior? Because first we went from 60 years to 62, and now we're 65. Right. But still, the law is there that you have to be registered from 15. So if you are registered from 15 years, from age 15 years in the registry,
right,
and you're going to qualify now for pension of 65, it means that you have to be registered on St. Martin for 50 years. 50 years registration would then give you the full old age pension, okay? If that is not the case, then you would get a breakdown. That is totally unfair because before it was saying 15 to 60, which would have given you 45 years. If you are moving the goalposts in one area of years of registration, years of to qualify, then you should move the goalposts for the years of registration or even innovate that law. Because I believe that everybody, whether they came here when they were 15 or you came when you were able to join the labor force at age 30, for example, or 25, if you reach 65, 25 and 65 to 65 is 40 years. But for you to then lose 10 years cut back on your pension because you wasn't here from 15, God forbid, you're supposed to be in school until 18. But registering, what that have to do, that connection, I don't and I can't explain it. They can't explain it either. They would tell you that's the law.
It's
okay?
Antiquated by now.
Exactly. There's where I'm coming to. That's an antiquated law that has to be reviewed and reviewed in such a way that whoever is living here on St. Martin can benefit from the pot. Because a lot of people, too, a lot of workers did not make it to 60, 62, or 65. But they have contributed during their working time to this pot under the AOV, EWW law. And then, of course, if their children are already to age, they don't get anything. You don't get anything. The only benefit probably is a burial benefit of a limited amount because the family still has to, has to put their part. And basically, I believe they have to review and do better because the unheard and unsung story of people getting 300 guilders.
Even lower than that, some people, huh?
Yeah. 3. Well, I'm taken from like 3 to even 800 guilders for pension. Well, the 800 guilders can't even pay my GB bill good.
Yeah.
So basically, this is one of the areas of concern, and I'm so happy that you invited me today and that I can talk about that because the minimum wage is still not a livable wage, number one, even though a number of political campaigns have been carrying the message of for it to become a livable wage.
Right.
It has been indexed as the 1st of April. We have to go and see if it has been executed in the world of work. Do everybody get that minimum wage that has been legislated by law? Number 2, it's not only the minimum wage, it's the poverty increase in St. Martin that has now to be addressed and addressed in such a way that we can structurally also look at the seniors and grant them something like the minimum wage or something, but a livable pension. Let me term it like that.
Let me say this because I think I mentioned this to you some years back. I know a St. Martin person who lived in the USA for many years, came back to St. Martin, and very old person now, and receiving less than 100 guilders because this, when you add up those years that you mentioned, it's very little. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think about that?
Well, this is the reality of St. Martin because back in those days, a lot of persons would go to the U.S. because of economics, St. Thomas, St. Croix, America, or Aruba, Curacao. A lot of persons would go there. But at that time, they also, working in those countries, sustain the economy of St. Martin, sustain their family members that were left here in St. Martin. We cannot deny that. So at a given moment, when they reach to that age, by their sustaining, most of those people sustaining their family, they did not create a pot for their own old age. And when they come back now, if they find themselves in this situation, that is a terrible situation because however you turn it or twist it, they are living here. They're born here. They are persons that are from here, roots from here. And that's why the social security, the name social is there. Because then they should, if they don't have a workers' pension, they should be able to, and this is what I'm advocating, to do away with parts of that law, especially when it comes to that type of calculation. Do away with that law and make sure that seniors are taken care of. Because that law basically, it applies to the seniors, but in the meantime, the pot is getting from all angles. You get from the active workers, even though they might say the pool of active workers have shrunk, but it is getting every month, and that percentage of that has increased. Look, right now, even for seniors that are pensioners from the government, we have paid for a number of years the FZOG, which is the medical insurance, today from the pension of those civil servants / teachers. 10.4% is being deducted for your medical bill, while this FZOG originated in a time when we were in the Netherlands Antilles, and they already closed that down in Curacao, put the pensioners on a basic medical insurance, and their pensioners in Curacao is paying 6.4%. We are paying 4% more. And basically, as a senior, I still have to buy my vitamins. I still have to buy a number of things that are not on the list. So tell me what is really going on. There are a number of things. I got a wash list of things that needs to be actually within the law, the field of the law. So Parliament, they have to make amendments. Right now, if you look, a parliamentarian gets, with the new minimum wage, gets 10 times more than a minimum wage worker. A minimum wage worker have to show up every day.
More than 10 times.
But a minimum wage worker have to show up every day. And they have to give, if they're not showing up, they have to give a valid reason. If they're sick, they have to have themselves properly documented as a minimum wage worker. A parliamentarian, it looks like there's no rules or regulations, especially when we see what played out last week, Friday, and Monday gone. There are no rules and regulations to their attendance for what they're making. We need to hold them accountable for their work ethics also. So there are a number, they are the lawmakers, there are a number of laws that has to be reviewed to be able to deal with the people of this country and to make sure that the people of this country is taken care of. We should stop referring, or if you don't have enough money, go to the labor office.
That's
and
crazy.
you're going to get, what you call that?
Understand?
Yes, a social aid.
Yeah.
Social aid should be left for the handicaps. Social aid should be the responsibility of government. Given a social aid is for someone, for example, that is in Sister Basilia Center and needs to be care, or somebody that has a handicap. That, in my view, but it's not up to me to decide, but that would be my advocate. And the social...
How you feel about where seniors are being taxed on that little bit of money that they're receiving money?
But
they're being taxed.
There too the tax laws need to be reviewed, because there should be, for example, a minimum or a maximum up to so much there, then you are not taxed. When your income is up to this level, then you are not taxed. That should also...
But you should just exempt that amount from any senior. Doesn't matter who.
Exactly.
And then whatever you get after that, then you can tax.
Because they are failing to recognize that there are more areas that can produce taxes. You understand? There are various other areas that they exempt in the sense of not having their bright and beautiful...
And they're losing a lot of money.
Yes, they're losing a lot of revenues because they're not having their young, bright and beautiful intellectuals study their market, study the laws, and adjust the laws, come with proposals to make certain adjustment that would then generate revenues. You understand?
Right.
This is basically ludicrous that it's so biased that you're doing after those seniors in their active working years have paid tax. They were able to get some exemption probably on or some deductions on loans that they had a little deduction.
Which is standard.
Standard, yeah. But you know that they cancel a lot of that up to a maximum of this, or they cancel for house repairs. You could only give a maximum while we are in a hurricane belt. And anytime you get damages, it can be very, very costly. So basically...
But that one was done from in the former Nelson days, I think, right? That whole cancellation of certain benefits on homeowners, etc.
Yes, but it means that they have a lot more income now because they cancel a lot of the deductibles. So therefore... This is where I'm saying, when you move the goalposts on one area, give back then to the seniors. The seniors shouldn't have to, Lord, when you see them, shouldn't have to be crawling, going in before the 31st of May, before the 31st of May deadline to go stand in the line to declare their taxes and things like that. That is something that already should have been taken care of and should work out towards the 40 years or how many years that senior has contributed actively with their taxes back in their working days.
Are there some messages? You're the voice for so many seniors that I know how they look forward to seeing you and hearing from you. Because
right now, this month, I'm going to be very busy because there are a number of seniors that have to prove to the Social Security Bank that they are alive, while if they had kicked the bucket, the SVB would have been the first to know. But they have to prove it. It's a standard form with a life certificate. And now I just learned how to take the picture with a newspaper and their ID. They have to hold their ID and the newspaper. I have to take a picture from them and then make sure the life certificate is full in and signed, because most of them, I have a legible handwriting, so I have to fill it in and then just leave them sign it and then send it on. So I know a number of them will be knocking at my door and I'll be sitting there. And I want you to know that the assistance that I give to the seniors that come to me is pro deo, free of charge. No fees, no 10, no 5, no this. It have a gentleman that feels so bad that he goes and he bring fruits for me. He bring ice cream sometimes when he walk. But all of that is not necessary because it is in my nature. I cannot see people suffering. Some people, they don't understand that the seniors don't know on this phone. They only know how to make a phone call, etc. If they end up having WhatsApp, that's a plus because that's a free call.
Right.
Okay? But still, they got to put on the money to be able to get a WhatsApp.
And not even WhatsApp is free because it's actually using up the data on your phone.
Exactly. That's how it is. So now, basically, some of them don't know how to email, how to do these different things. So that's why they come for the assistance. And all I need is God's blessings. God's blessings to carry me through to be able to continue to assist them. So as a trade unionist, it is not in my status either to say, no, this is the fee. No. So I need that to be out clear.
I got to go to a quick break.
Yes.
All right, when we come back, we're going to continue right here on Speaking About Everything on Facebook, YouTube, and Hot 99.9 FM radio with this clear Elshot. Right back. Please stay with us.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Banco Matico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Banco Matico Plus. More of the best.
Speaking of everything, I'm saying oral. Speaking of everything is Miss Claire Elshot. She is the first vice president of the Witu, Winwood Islands Teachers Union. Always a pleasure having her here on the program with us. What are some of the things you want to see, Ms. Elshot?
Well, during my tenure as the president of the Winwood Islands Teachers Union, I saw a number of persons complaining about reaching in their scale down to the step or the level 20 and then be frozen. Okay. And my take on that was with the ministry was either you go and we review these scales, because this whole function book for teachers and the scales, etc., date back from, if you can remember, 2008, and they were to evaluate and look at the different, things that have to be done, and that was never done. So 2008 to now is almost 20 years. So it's time for us to say, well, if you take in, again, the pension age to 65, then you should take the steps. And at least in that scale, in each scale, you should add, instead of 20, it should become 30. Not even 25, it should become 30. And because we fought back in 2007, we had a lot of, meetings during school time. So the actions, we fought against the freezing of salaries. So we cannot permit it to come back in through the back door and creep in, that at level 20 of a scale, that people are being frozen and told, they're being told then that, you need to have a different function. Within the teaching field, there are so many different functions that are limited, but teachers is what you need. So the greatest pool is teachers.
So there's no incentive for people to...
Exactly. So you have to treat your teaching staff better. Then the next thing that we are looking at is the school vacations. The vacations, we have noticed the teachers are complaining that the summer break is being reduced from 6 weeks. It's slowly but surely becoming 4 weeks.
Getting shorter?
But they are saying, but you have 61 days. It is not 61 days, because in that you are counting all the public holidays. Now, we also have members that are non-teaching staff, and they fall under the function book also. We have school boards that have the audacity then to compare the non-teaching staff with civil servants, which we might be able to have a lot of benefits like civil servants, but teachers and non-teaching staff at school boards are not civil servants. Civil servants, for example, vacation days, which they can take on request, depends your rank. You might have 15, others might have 23, others 25, others 29 or 30, whatever. Depends your rank.
Right.
In the teaching profession, if the schools have vacation, everybody should have vacation, administrative staff and everything, because that school vacation schedule should come for them. The only thing that they would have to do as a school board is to check, for example, if they employ security staff, that they might have to check and make a different, what you would call a CLA for them. But the security staff being the type of nature of work. But if you have a security company that is policing your campus, then that falls under the security company's regulation. But the only way administrative staff should work is a week after school closes in June to wrap up all the reports, etc., and assist the school manager, and a week before school starts to be able to finalize, because registration usually take place in this month, April, May. Every school board puts out their notification in the newspaper for registration. So why would you have in a school that is closed up all your administrative staff there, while administrative staff have families, children, etc., that also need a vacation? Now, In that same way, I'm saying, if a school manager, or not if, the school managers stay a week after, and before school start, and a week after, they are allowed to retrieve those 2 weeks of their vacation, back. And most of them will take it in October. They can take back their vacation. So then
during regular school?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, they can get their days back as school managers. So why are the non-teaching staff within the school penalized, to once there's vacation, they cannot benefit of that vacation, they have to be in school? That is ludicrous. And then to compare them, because you're a civil servant, the vacation days for the civil servants should come for you. That's not correct. That's not true. They have in the function book, they have their own scale, they have their own position mentioned there. All the position with their task is mentioned there. And not because the school board has certain powers, they should take away the rights and benefits of our members. So that's something else that will be tackled. In addition, I always advocated, since we recruit teachers in Holland, and most of the time, especially for secondary schools, most of the time it's a difficult task. The 8% vacation allowance that has already passed a couple of years, more than 10 years in Holland. And when BEST became BEST, Bonaire teachers, Bonaire, Sabre and City Stations teachers also went to 8%. So why are we still at 6%? That doesn't make
6% of
6% of your yearly income would be the vacation allowance. So then finally, there is a movement that by June this year, the teachers would be getting a 1% increase. So instead of 6, they would go 7, and then hopefully by the next year it will become 8. That equalization will be then taken care of, hopefully. I hope there's no disappointment for the June coming, because it's a new incoming government. The finance ministers who happen to be proudly, she's my niece, Honorable Marinka Gums. So basically, we hope that that's transitioned smoothly. And then, for years also been fighting for the cost of living adjustment that did not happen since 2012, I believe. We have not seen a cost of living adjustment. We saw that in December of 2023, they added 1% in a lump sum for all public school teachers. I still, it is not paid at the school boards, but from information gathered, all school boards have submitted their calculations and everything so that they can get that incidental increase and be able to pay their workers also. And basically, once the budget is passed, they were promised also, the covenant is saying that they would get then a 2% increase in salary, because when you get a lump sum, it doesn't go through on your salary. So they would get a 2% increase. That 2% increase is not equal to the cost of living that did occur between 2012 to 2024. But basically, even though they're not calling it cost of living, I feel that we should still now continue to look at the COLA, the cost of living adjustment, because it means that you are then adjusting to create that space of the purchasing power. You should not have teachers in your community living from month to month, and then the last week before they get paid, they have to scramble together to meet their needs. No, that should
not good at all.
It's not good. Yeah. So therefore, that review, as first vice president of the union, I would like to advocate that. And also the fact that every time you find different school boards, the teaching hours, you understand? Because they would say, by law, it's 39.9. But the 39.9 includes a lot of the work that has to be done at home. Why are you maintaining that a teacher, for example, have to stay on such a day for a meeting, then they have to stay for planning on different days. No, it's just don't drive up. It makes sense. The respectable hours of work that you can do, because you have your family planning that you can do at home, correction, and all of that, that should be respected and not hide in or tie into an extension of the hours of which a teachers have to stay in school, like commanding them. And it's happening a lot in public schools and also under certain school boards.
So now we can see why there's such a shortage of our own people now when it comes to teachers, because there's no incentive.
Well, and that is the next thing that we have done from in the days of Mr. Harrigan being in the department. We did a whole survey on how to get incentives for the young people to study for teachers. And basically, it is just there, no execution of that, because you have to be able to ignite that flame in children. I knew from a very young age that I want to be a teacher. So even though, I had an aunt, my aunt was Ma'am Fleming, saying become a teacher because when the children are free, you are free. But she didn't know, for example, that what all else that comes with it.
Right.
Because you have to be the pastor, the counselor, the parent sometimes, and even the government in taking care of your students with the love that you do and the passion that you do your work. But basically, you start to study out from young. So it was either a nurse, a stewardess, or a teacher. And, quickly, the nurse fell off, the stewardess fell off, and the teacher remained. And it is a very nice profession. I would like to leave this word with the young people. Become a teacher. Your country needs you. And I feel that the university too should provide possibilities for, I saw it happening all the time in Curacao. When you are elementary teacher, some of them eager to go up to secondary. So there are courses that are then organized either to become subject teacher in 2 subject areas like maths and physics, or Spanish and English, or something, Dutch and English. But those courses are organized, and then it gives the sitting teachers the opportunity to go. Also, other people can go directly to that to become the secondary school teachers, because I think that is also, that mobility is also needed, that you can be able to get a master's in certain subjects after your bachelor's in elementary. You get a master in specific subjects that you love, and then you go on to teach in the secondary too. Because right now, a lot of the teachers are aging and going on pension. The sitting teachers, they're going on pension. So you need to have that constant flow from underneath.
And we're not getting it right now, right?
Yeah. And then my condolences to the staff in the teaching fraternity of the Asher Stephen Hillside Christian School, who recently again lost a teacher. And I believe it was so very shocking to them that they canceled classes on Monday. So the students were able to stay home on Monday, and they were able to reflect on whatever. So basically, my sincere condolences to them.
No, it's so amazing how we are losing our teachers, nurses. We have all these shortages in professions that 30, 40 years ago, we didn't have a problem with our people.
Yeah, but I would always say, God give it and God take it. So at a given moment, whatever happened now, we cannot question God's desire to take someone home, but we can also live with memories, good memories, condolences, heartfelt condolences to the family, and try to be a pillar of support,
Maybe other time, anything you like to add in closing, Ms. Asher?
And Adam, I would like to say it's a great opportunity to be back on the board of the organization that I have presided for 27 years or more, so 27 and a half years. And I do hope that satisfactorily I'll be able to make the contribution and support our president, Mrs. Roxana Pantufet, to the fullest so that she can get the work done that is needed for our teachers.
All right. So again, I want to thank you, wish you much success, all the best. All right.
Yes, thank you.
And that's it for now. I'll see you next time on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. Till then, take care. Bye.